We are live. Yay! How about you, everybody? Welcome into this week's edition of the Auburn Live Call-In Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. I'm joined tonight by Mr. Jhead. Mr. Jhead, how about you, big dog?
How about you,
brother? I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. I believe we have come. The light that was at the end of the transfer portal tunnel, it's on my face right now.
Yes.
I'm not eyes red.
No, but you do have a glow to you, brother.
Do I?
It's not just that ring light you got going there in the background. I think you and the coaching staff both earned a well-deserved break here for about 5 minutes.
So before coming on, we're going to get to that. Before I came on, I was obviously a little late. Cyrus Dumas,
yes,
committed to Auburn. The transfer cornerback from New Mexico State is he's the second one of the day. Shane Hooks, the wide receiver from Jackson State, committed earlier this afternoon. And Jhead, the done deal, I believe, if unless something else happens, if spots become available, Auburn is maxed out. Done deal. Transfer portal has closed.
Correct. We are now at 85 strong, specifically if you count Jake Levant, which we were told by our very own Cole Pinkston that they will be counting his scholarship and renewing that. And they'll also be renewing Sean's scholarship as well. So that takes us to an official 85, and I think it's a very strong close. Now, look, I think all three of these players that we just landed within the last 2 days are going to be contributors. Are any of them going to be superstars at the next level? I can't say that. But when you're bringing in guys that can affect your two deep, it is valuable nonetheless. Every one of these guys are a seasoned player at the G5 or FCS level. They are somebody that can come in and absolutely push your starters. If you have an injury, they can move in a pinch. And when you have young players at a position, so take Cyrus Dumas, who's going to be competing against Kayan Lee. That's only going to make Kayan Lee that much better, right? Because you know if he plays over a guy that had over 30-something tackles, multiple pass breakups and 2 interceptions last year, and did it against Liberty. So this is a guy that Hugh Freeze saw firsthand. And New Mexico State didn't just beat Liberty. They ran the score up on them. Okay?
Did they?
They absolutely did. So he got a shot at it. He got to look at this guy up close and personal. So if you're willing to take him in, that means you think he makes you better. How much better, we're going to find out. But he makes you better. They round out your 85, and I think it's a great way to do it.
Well, before we go any further, we're going to get some calls, man. You guys give us a call, 701-779-9585. You know we're going to go straight to the call lines when you call in. Lots to talk about, man. I think that's the third commitment in the last, 2 or 3 days?
2 days.
In the last 2 days, Auburn obviously lost Isaac Ukwu. Before we get to him, though, Jhead, I got some more news for you. So, you know, my house went under contract before it even hit the market, right?
Yeah.
It fell through. The contract fell through. So we put it back on the market Wednesday. 24 hours later, 2 offers under contract, and it's all because of this chick right here. Jessica Andrews, folks, 5-star realtor, the Talents Group. If you're thinking about selling, if you're thinking about buying in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, she can get it done, folks. My goodness, she's good. And it's all – listen, I didn't know, like, the different things like staging and, like, man, it's unbelievable what a really good – agent will do for you when you're trying to sell your home. And I watched her do it, man. It was incredible. Pricing, you got to be able to price it right so that it'll go, but you don't want it to go too fast because it was too low. You want to get it was unbelievable. She's fantastic, folks. Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group, buying or selling in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County. Give her a call. You will not be disappointed. 334-704-4442. 5-star realtor. Tell her we sent you, man. Give her a call. Tell her we sent you. Fantastic. All right, Jhead. So I'm giddy, man. And the basketball transfer portal, let's don't forget it. I mean, listen, I have both of these coming at me, right?
Yeah.
Both of these. Oh, and the basketball transfer portal, this window, man, you talking about some highs and lows, dog. I mean, it was bad. So Auburn finally got its 3. Chad Baker Mazzara.
Yes.
Still looking for, a big. So I think that's 11, right? Baker Mazzara is 11.
Baker Mazzara makes 11, specifically if our walk-on extraordinaire is going to be returning on scholarship, which it appears that he will be.
Yeah, Leor.
Yes, Leor Berman. So, yes, you're looking for another big, somebody that can play 5, somebody that can play 4. They can give you some rotational depth there. I think they would probably take a 1-year guy right now just to have that. I think they would prefer a younger guy that they could groom behind several older players, specifically Johnny and Jalen, just to kind of give them some continuity moving forward into next season. But we'll see what comes available. I know that there's some guys they've got their eye on. Nobody of name comes to note right now, but they 100% have their eye on a handful of guys, and they'll start to narrow that in. But like you said, Chaz Baker-Mazara, that was the big one. That's the guy that they've kind of pinned their hopes on as being that impact 3. And what that looks like, we don't really know. This is a young man that's coming from junior college. Now, this is a different junior college player. So you're talking about a guy that played a year at San Diego State. San Diego State just went to the Final Four, so you know what kind of coaching you're getting there underneath Brian Dutch. He was the 6th man of the year in the Mountain West Conference. He also played a season at Duquesne, where I believe he averaged double figures. What you want to see from Chaz Baker-Mazara when he gets to Auburn is consistency. I think his highs are extremely high, but the consistency hasn't always been there, in my opinion. And that probably is why he went to junior college, to be able to go and play and develop some. And I'll be interested to see what he's like when he gets to Auburn. He's not the sure thing that the young man from Vanderbilt was. Could he be even better? Absolutely, he could. I can't say that right now that he's going to be better than Tyron Lawrence, but I think the capability is there. You just haven't seen him do it against SEC level competition. And so you got to reserve the right to be able to judge him when he gets here and gets live in action.
It was funny. As you were talking, Jhead Broome tweets, decisions. Eyeballs. That'll be interesting, man. I think Auburn is cautiously optimistic that he's going to come back, but he needs to settle down. Right?
He's played a little too well, Jeffrey, to make
chill the F out, big dog. Chill the F out, man.
To make the Auburn fan base comfortable. Now, what I will say for Jhead is good for that young man. He's come to Auburn. He's done everything
He's
right.
Awesome too, man.
Yeah, great kid. Represents Auburn fantastically. Went to the G League All-Star camp, blew up, or the MVP camp, blew up. Went to the NBA Combine, had a heck of a first day. I don't really know how he finished out. To be honest, I didn't do my due diligence and follow up to see how he did on day 2. But day 1 was an absolute success for him. And at a minimum, he's got himself now an NBA general manager's radar going into next year.
All right.
Gotten fantastic feedback as to, this is what I need you to showcase more over a college season to show me that you're ready to play in the NBA. So I think it's plus for him. And like you said, if we get him back, he's going to be even better player next year for having gone through this experience.
And he's not going to be under the radar as he might have been a year ago. Like, all eyes will be on him. Or at least that's how I didn't think like Jhead Broome was like the headliner of this Auburn basketball team a year ago. Like, I don't think, like, right? It was Wendell Green, was it not?
Correct. Wendell Green was the perceived leader and alpha dog of this team. And realistically, Bruce had said it during the season, the team goes as Wendell goes.
There you go.
I think, and I agree with you, that Jhead is going to be the featured piece next year. You're probably going to build around him and what he's capable of. Now, you've got some very young and talented guards in Aiden Holloway, Trey Donaldson. You've got a nice transfer group coming in, obviously with one of the best scorers in all of Conference USA. So that's going to give you a big lift. But I do believe, because Jhead has been through the wars, he's been in the SEC, you know what to expect. And now he's shown it to himself. Look, he just went up against NBA guys. You know what I mean? Guys are going to be playing in the G League next year. Guys are going to be second-round draft picks. And was holding his own. So you know he's going to carry that confidence coming back. As long as we can navigate not getting injured. Because, look, we thought the same thing about Alan Flanagan 2 years ago, and then he suffers that injury. And until the back half of this year, he was never the same player. He finally started to kind of round back into shape after that horrible injury that he suffered. If Jhead can stay away from the injury bug, I think he's primed himself for a really great year 2 at Auburn. And like you said, to be that focal piece, that guy that you can bank on night in, night out when we need it, we can hang our hat on Jhead Broome and he can go get it for us, big dog.
Whew. You've got what is he? Is he the 4th transfer portal addition for Bruce Pearl? You had Denver. You had
Chaney Johnson.
Chaney.
So he would be your, and then Chad Baker would.
He's a 3.
Right. He's a 3. Now, he came from junior college, so technically he's not the portal, but he's a guy that's been at the college level. So you almost consider him like a portal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely consider him a portal addition.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't your typical, like, he's been in junior college at Pearl River for 2 years and all of a sudden blew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a guy
late transfer.
Yeah, this was a guy who was at the D1 level, went down to JUCO just to spread his wings and develop some, and has now come back up.
Be interesting to see what we do, what we see from Bruce Pearl in the 12th man edition. I've heard some names, some intriguing names, to be honest with you. I was not, you look back, you think back to Ben Middlebrooks. Remember the guy, Ben Middlebrooks? I think he was from Clemson, went to NC State, picked NC State over Auburn.
Correct.
He was the perfect big that they were looking for at the time, right?
Yeah.
Still young guy.
Still relatively young. I think he had 2 years left to play, a guy that would be some continuity moving forward, but a developmental piece, right? Somebody that was not a finished product by any means, but a guy that could come in and give you some quality minutes.
And at NC State, he's probably looked upon a little bit higher than that. He probably made the choice of, I'm going to play a lot more minutes at NC State than I will at Auburn, and he was probably right. It was probably a good move for him if that's what he was looking for. But I think back to him, if you put his size and experience and all that, that's kind of what I think Bruce is looking for, that depth piece big, with a little bit of experience. All right, let's see. Steven Sings is in the house.
Yes.
Steven Sings, you got at the transfer edge, Steven Sings, Jalen McLeod. You got Steven Sings because you missed on Isaac Ukwa, who committed to Ole Miss. You've got Dumas.
Yes.
Cornerback, 5'10". I like him. He's very mature. He's a fantastic locker room addition.
Yes. I think you can say that about both him and Steven Sings.
Mm-hmm.
Both guys that you know that they're coming in. Let's start with Sings. Sings is a guy that the Liberty staff is very familiar with. Obviously, he was recruited by Josh Aldridge in 2019 because, for those that don't know, before Josh Aldridge became the co-defensive coordinator and linebackers coach, he was initially the defensive line coach at Liberty. So he recruited Steven Sings to come to Liberty, coached him for 2 years, knows him very well. And to the best of my understanding, the Liberty staff loves him. He's a guy that's going to come in. He knows the culture that they want to build. He knows what they're wanting out of their players each and every day in practice. He's not going to be a distraction. He's a guy that's going to bring his lunch pail to work. And look, whether he is an impact player or not, having somebody in year 1 and year 2 of a program that understands the way you want your locker room to be maintained is extremely invaluable. Just that in and of itself. He's had some productivity. I believe he's had 7 sacks in his career to this point, never averaged less than 3 tackles for loss. So he's a guy as a rotational piece that comes in with some productivity as well. Now, is he ever going to be a superstar? I don't think so. But you don't have to be. Not every addition has to be a superstar. Some guys, their value is intrinsic value that you don't always see on the football field, and I think he's one of those kind of players. Zach, we got somebody?
Yeah, we got 4 callers. I was just letting the first part of the show, that way everyone can get called up.
Okay, cool. Good job, man.
Let's see, 4128. Oh, hang on. I don't know what is going on with this. 4128, you are live. 4128.
Very nice.
4128.
Yo, can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear, man. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
All right, it's Logan. What's going on, fellas?
Logan Adams. What's up, man?
It's Logan Adams. Yeah, what's going on, dude? Hey, where's my boy Cole at?
I don't know. What'd you do with him?
Did you lock him in the basement?
Well,
no, he's actually he's grilling. He's grilling. I just saw something on Twitter.
Well,
No, he had this weekend off, man. He needed some time with his family. He took off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And he said, I can be there tonight. And I was like, no, dude, you finish that vacation, man. Ain't nothing worse than having to work on your vacation. But in this line of work, it's typical that you do. But I was like, no, dude, we can hold it down. You go. And I was trying to find his picture on Twitter of his grill. I was going to, oh, here we go.
I smell a meme from Johnny Knox 07 coming.
Let me see how he did. I don't see it.
Well, I will say you guys all need a break somewhat soon, but I think Jay Lee mentioned it earlier that the portal's coming down to a wind down, so that's good. I mean, it's been exciting to see all the pieces fall in place. Now, I do have a good amount of points to hit, but Zach, I trust that you're going to cut me off when I need to shut up. So, all right, so it's I'm going to go back into starting the show off, we've been talking about transfers, but I kind of want to go back to what happened on Thursday is when we had all those Central High School kids coming in. Now, do all of those kids have a committable offer, or is this more so, you know what, they're throwing everything out there so that we can get Cam Coleman?
Yes, they have a committable offer. Why would you think they didn't?
Well, that's what is it, 4 or 5 kids on one team? And I mean, I haven't looked up all of them, but I know that Dalen, he's 2025. I'm not very familiar with all those other kids, but
they all have like multiple. This isn't just like Auburn and La Tech. This is Auburn and Florida State and Penn State and Clemson. And I mean, these kids got. It's not just Auburn.
Really? All right. Well, I like I said, I'm not too well versed with all those kids. That's just a lot of kids from one high school, and I wasn't sure if it was something that they were just trying to piece together for Cam Coleman. But
hey, Jhead, you know who's with you?
So another thing too is now that we're kind of getting down to the end of the portal. I mean, shoot, we should be if we have 85 spots that are filled. How would you guys rank the position rooms? Now, I'm not talking about, you know, just top-heavy players that construe the ranking. I'm talking about as a whole. Now, where would you rank these position rooms? Because, I mean, shoot, going into this second portal window wouldn't you say that receiver was probably at the bottom, but now, I mean, in terms of depth and necessary pieces, I mean, they got to be at the top, right?
It's going to be hard, Logan, for me on that one. And now I love the way they filled the room out. I love the fact that they brought in some different body types. But most of these guys are leveling up with the exception of Caleb Burton. And with that, typically speaking, if you look at kind of how the statistics and how they bear out, or the analytics and how they bear out, when you level up, you don't necessarily go up in productivity. Now, I can make a case for Jair Shorter and say that I think he will, because I thought the quarterback play at North Texas was lacking last year. But when you're thinking about overall exposure and what these guys see on a down-in, down-out basis and the level of competition that they're up against each and every week, these guys are all going up, okay? So will they be ready out of the chute to be as productive as we think that they need to be or they're capable of? I just don't know. So there's some unknowns there when you're talking about transfer portal guys, specifically coming from a lower level. So I want to maintain some level of just, you know, tempering expectations some. Do I like the body types? Do I like what they bring? Yes. Or do I know that they're ready to compete day one and to be able to go out there and be difference makers and impact guys? No, I don't. We're going to need to see them practice in fall practice. We're going to need to see them what they look like in game one and game two before I think you can have a real gauge on where the position rooms rank some, just because there's so much fluidity in what we've added. But you definitely have moved, for me, because I had the wide receiver room, if we're being completely honest, as the most concerning position coming out of spring. That was number one for me. I did not like what I saw or what I heard. But I think you definitely shored some things up. You've definitely added talent. How much talent have we added? I'm with Coach Hugh Freeze on this one. I just don't know yet. We're going to find out when we get into fall practice, and these guys, they're going up against some of the better defensive backs in all of the SEC. If they're getting off the jam and they're beating and busting coverage, then I think we've got, you know, something to work with. If they're not, and we hear more of the same lingering issues that we heard coming out of spring, then we'll know a little bit better. But until then, I got to temper expectations. Somebody say, yes, we've improved, but how much, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, I hear that now. And the last point that I wanted to hit was, I think it was weeks back. It may have been it may have been a conglomeration of all you fellas saying how, Hugh wanted to utilize these official visits towards the end of the year. Now here we are. We have a lot of players that are taking an official in the middle of summer. And then tell me if I'm wrong, but there's one fella who is making an official that's announced right now, and it's against Georgia, and it's KJ Bolden. And I wanted to get you guys' opinion on that, because I think, just going from what I've read from all you guys, is that Georgia is the biggest threat. I mean, we're not you tell me if I'm wrong, but we're not like the top one or two. I mean, there's a lot to play out, but is that KJ Bolden more so taking that official visit with two birds, one stone to see Georgia and Auburn? Or how do you guys see that playing out? That's my last one. I'll shut up and listen.
KJ Bolden?
Yeah, Jeffrey, I'll let you go ahead and answer first, and I got some thoughts on that.
Listen, every time I hear KJ Bolden's name, I think of Keith Niebuhr, and Keith Niebuhr is right here on my shoulder when people talk about KJ Bolden, and he's like.
Now, I feel a little bit differently about Zaquan Patterson than I did months ago. I think 2 shows ago I said no chance on that one. I may be changing some there, but I'm with you, Jay Lee, on this one. If he goes anywhere other than Georgia or Ohio State, I will be. And look, I will say this. For a while, I thought it was all Georgia with him. I literally, from the conversation I've had, I think Ohio State is smack in the middle of that. And I think they've got an outside shot at taking him away from Georgia. But if he goes to anybody other than those two, my mouth will be wide open on National Signing Day. You can bank. I'll be the first one to eat crow on that.
Well, keep us rolling, Zach.
5960. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
What's going on, fella?
I thought.
Little Edward action early in the show.
Yeah, I decided to come on and get it in early, man. How y'all fellas going?
We're doing great. Listen, Edward, I'm doing fantastic, big dog. I'm so glad that the transfer portal's over. I am so glad, dude. I think I had 3 hairs left on top of my head before this all started. Not anymore.
Getting ready to come look at some hunting land. You ain't got much portal, man. Stuff to do, but
hey.
How y'all guys feeling about everything, man?
Needs met, man. Jhead, you were talking about wide receiver, dude. I'm looking at that offensive line going, you got to be kidding me. Like, I haven't seen that shit. That knee. And the Muskrat was in it was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, Dylan Wade, Gunnar Britton, who else? Avery Jones. And then you're going to throw in a Jaden Muskrat?
Yeah, so you added 3 starters, and to me, I don't
at least right.
Yeah, 3 starters right now. Muskrat could start. I don't have him projected to do so right now, but he gives you somebody that improves their top 8 and can be a swing lineman for you that could play guard or could play tackle. That was the best upgrade to me, and it's not even close as far as talent acquisition is concerned because you had to have it. There was no workaround. You know what I mean? If you don't add 9 offensive linemen in this offseason, you don't have enough going into the SEC next year to even be competitive.
My goodness. Who are the wide receivers?
Man. Is it no hold barred? I really want to speak on something, but I want y'all guys to – I just don't want to talk out of place, man. It's y'all show.
Edward, go ahead.
What did he say? What did he say?
He wants to speak on something, but he wants
I really want to speak on the topic, but I just don't want to come out and start talking, man.
Okay, hey, this is whatever – hey, what you got, big dog?
Edward, we may not be able to comment on what it is, but you can speak on whatever you want.
Okay. Situation with my star running back, man. I seen that, and I kind of feel bad, man, because in my mind, I don't think it's going to end well for my star running back. And I think you kind of put my guy Hugh in a difficult situation because this is a guy that already got stuff over his head for immoral stuff. And that's the last thing he needed to be faced with coming into Auburn. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been a 21-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid, man. I did what I want, how I want, to who I wanted, when I wanted. I understand that. I've been there. But also, I hear a lot of people say a lot of things that, oh, no law broken or this and that and that. But people have to understand, just because you can do something doesn't always mean you should do something. And it's consequences for your actions, man. It's like, just because I can do, look at Ja Morant. I mean, yeah, he got the right to ride around with a gun. He ain't broke no law, but it's still rules that people don't realize. And I just hate it because Hugh say, you know, the kid may be the best running back that he ever coached. And I hate to say it, but I don't think he'll get to coach him down at Auburn, man. And that's just me saying that. I could be wrong, but indefinitely in the anti mind, it's not a good look, man. Women,
I will say this, Edward.
got more rights than men these days, man.
Well, I will say this: the indefinite suspension right now, I believe, I can't speak on facts, but I do feel comfortable saying that Jarquez is indefinitely suspended from the team right now. But that's more status quo for things like this. If you're under investigation, it's like if something happens to you at work, if you're alleged to have done something at work, they're probably going to suspend you with pay until they can figure out what's going on. So I wouldn't look too much into that. The investigation, what they determine, if any, policies were broken and the consequences of those policies. I think the investigation right now is all about that, and you've got to do something until that investigation is complete. So I think there's been a couple guys suspended, but that's, like I said, that's status quo.
Yeah,
I wouldn't read too much into that.
And no names have been announced. And Edward, we really can't get into making any kind of gut reaction to that without knowing all of the facts.
Yeah, I just don't know. I know what's been presented. I know what's been on Twitter. I know what's been on the message boards. But for fact, I only know that there have been suspensions until the end of the investigation has been complete.
Right, and that was included in the statement released by Auburn University.
Yeah, sure was. You know
what I mean? So who those suspensions are, we don't know, and won't speculate on right now, just because that's not unfair. That's not fair to any individual. But you know, I hear your concerns.
Yeah, man. It just, you know, hey, we got just everybody, man. It's just not football play. Everybody man. Just make wiser and smarter decision, man. I say, just because you got the right to do something, I got the right. Hey, I can go out here and cheat on my wife. That don't mean it's gonna be consequences. I might be calling Miss Jessica Andrews looking for a house in Auburn once you put me out. I mean,
you know what?
All right, man. I just want to hang up, man. Just listen to y'all guys. Listen to the rest of the show, man. Y'all guys have a good day.
Appreciate you, Edward. Oh, country kid.
5792. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Oh, this is D from the chat.
What's happening, D?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing tonight?
We appreciate you, D. How you doing tonight, big dog?
I'm doing pretty good. The question I have is, I saw early on Twitter that top 2025 running back Anthony Rogers had posted his top 5 and committing on the 2nd of June. I was just wondering, do you guys know where he's leaning and what school he's gonna he might commit to on June 2nd? So I appreciate you guys. I'll hang up and listen.
Nice.
Yep. Hey, I saw that. So Anthony Rogers was at Pike Road. Up until last year, he transferred to IMG. And listen, up until last year, he was there with Malik Blocked and all these kids from Pike Road, right? Who was the kid who went to Ole Miss? He was his backup.
Yeah,
Quinshon Judkins. This was a little stud running back. I remember when I guess it was maybe 223, and I was like, dude, you know, I'll get to him when I get to him. You know, it was 2022 or something like that. He was 2025, which 3 years from there. But anyway, so he goes to IMG. I was going to say who is let me figure out who his Final Five was. I think it was Auburn, Alabama. Anthony, shit, I can't tell. I got fat thumbs, man. Anthony Rogers, Turbo. Here we go. Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and Oregon.
That's surprising. I would have thought Miami would have been in there, but that's a strong top 5.
And you know what? I just saw this today, and with all the transfer portal going on in the 2024, I'm going to look at this, D. I'm going to hope to have this something at least Auburn, not Auburn, in the next, because, I mean, he's going to be committing in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
Yes.
And this is a stud running back for 2025, kind of an all-purpose guy, right, Jhead?
Very much so. There are 2 running backs in the 2025 class. Alvin Henderson is one. Anthony Turbo Rogers is the other. They are both big-time tailbacks that set the table for a phenomenal recruiting class if you were able to land one of those 2. Doesn't matter which 2. I have high grades on both, but really, really good player. And I imagine, if this is just me, but I am hard-pressed to say he's going to commit to somebody other than Auburn or Alabama. I feel pretty good saying that Auburn and Alabama are the kid's top 2. Now, I could be wrong on that, but that's just gut feel. I think he lands with an in-state program.
I always hate to see Alabama kids go down to IMG. Will Ignont, I remember him. I think he went down there. That was a long time ago, but who were some of the other guys that went to? I don't know. I just hate to see that. I get it, but I hate to see it.
Bo Scarborough, but we all knew where he was going from jump. Several other players. Now, I will say this, that I don't think that IMG has the influence that it once had, and I would not be surprised if Anthony Turbo Rogers doesn't transfer again, maybe to, say, a Thompson High School.
Whoever's got the best NIL deal.
Yeah, that wouldn't overly surprise me as far as that is concerned. But he's a fantastic running back, and I do believe he's going to end up with an in-state school. What school that is right now, I have no clue. I'll need to dig in on that. I'm with you, Jeffrey. Most of anything that I've done lately has been with regard to portal and trying to get my head wrapped around how we were going to fill these last couple spots. And now that we've completed that, because it is complete for the time being, we can transition into putting focus elsewhere.
Because someone put in the chat, Asa Martin.
Asa Martin, yeah.
Asa Martin, yeah.
Now he transferred. Yeah, he was at IMG and then went back. Yeah, where was he? But, that poor kid's bounced around to about 4 different colleges.
Is he the one that they screwed up the red shirt on?
Yes. Boy, listen, Brian Matthews, I think he basically blew a fuse on a rundown with you guys.
But the thing was, I think that was Tim Horton. Tim Horton is awesome.
Yeah.
I think it was Gus and Tim, wasn't it?
It was.
Or was it? It wasn't Cadillac.
No, it wasn't Cadillac's first year. Cadillac's first year coincided with, was it Tank's first year? No, he was the year before Tank because he recruited Tank.
Yeah. Cadillac, ironically enough, came from IMG. Good stuff, D. Hey, keep on us on that, D. I'll guarantee you by next week we'll have a better feel on that. But we appreciate you, man.
5810, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Fellas, Anthony from Montgomery.
Hey, Anthony.
How y'all doing tonight?
Doing well, Anthony. Been missing you, big dog. What's on your mind tonight?
All right, I want y'all to put y'all thinking caps on for me. I got a question that's going to make you think.
All right.
All right, we're going to start with 2010. Last time we won that championship, all the way up into this coaching staff now. Build your coaching staff, position by position, OC, head coach, and DC.
From 2010 until now? Now, are we picking any one of the three, or are we picking the coach they were underneath to go with those two?
You pick any coach on the any team.
Okay.
And with the OC and the head coach and the OC, DC head coaching position from 2010 to now.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Oh, I like it. It's a very thing. This is my instinct. Oh, man.
I got my three right now.
Who's your OC?
My OC is going to be who we've got right now, because I think Philip Montgomery has the most credentials of any OC that we've hired. Because you think back, you had Rhett, who's obviously been fantastic in his career, going on from Auburn and being at SMU, Miami, and now at SMU as a head football coach. But you also had Chip Lindsey, who's had some success and has had not some success. You had Kenny Dillingham, who obviously is now a head football coach at Arizona State. Kenny was a very bright young guy, but when he was here, did not have the skins on the wall that Philip Montgomery has right now. And then you obviously had Chad Morris. And then beyond that, you had Mike Bobo, and then obviously the situation we had last year, which was realistically Brian Harsin was the offensive coordinator, though it was Eric Kiesau in title.
Could you pick Gus as the OC?
That's who I have.
That's who I had as OC.
And I wouldn't blame you, because, listen, people want to bag on Gus. Gus revolutionized the sport, okay? The offense that he brought to Auburn in 2009 absolutely changed the way the game is played today. When you make a quantum leap or a change in the game, you have to be well regarded amongst your peers, and I believe that he is. And I think he's an easy guy to work for on top of that. So you can, you'd be able to hire other assistants underneath him as an offensive coordinator. But I'm still going to go with Philip Montgomery just because I love that veer and shoot offense by the Briles family came up with. I think that
who's your head coach?
It creates mismatches. I got to give the nod, as much as people are going to bag me on this. I got to give the nod to Gus right now, just because he's having success at this point.
Listen. I would take 2010 Gus, OC, 2010 Chiswick.
Oh, yes.
And give me Steele as my DC.
I was going to take Muschamp.
I hope Will's not listening.
Yeah, I got to take Will.
Jaylee's going to pull the Georgia. He's going to have Muschamp as the co-DC safeties coach like Georgia has him. Don't think that I didn't consider Mike Bobo for my OC.
Mike Bobo has some serious credentials, guys. I mean, he was not a bad offensive.
Watch what he does this year.
Right, with the kind of talent that he's got at Georgia, watch what he does this year. I fully believe, and he is a fantastic quarterback developer. Do I probably gripe some about his play calling, or have? Yeah, but how much of that at Auburn was really him, and how much of that was the head coach? You'll never really know. But I feel pretty comfortable saying he's going to have a big year this year with Carson Beck at Georgia, specifically with all the weapons they've got. And watch what he does with Brock Bowers at tight end. I guarantee you he's going to be putting up some huge, huge numbers.
Good stuff there, Anthony.
5411. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, fellas?
Hello.
Hey,
who is this?
This is Big Pat.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
What's on your mind tonight, Big Pat?
Hey, we've had an eventful Sunday, haven't we?
Very. And I am not complaining. I'm so glad to have this behind us.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I got a question as far as like the 2024 class. I guess just one recruit in particular. How hard is Auburn recruiting Malcolm Simmons from Benjamin Russell?
You know what? He's a name I was reading about this weekend, as a matter of fact.
What was the exact question, Jaylee?
Malcolm Simmons from Benjamin Russell. How hard is Auburn recruiting him?
I think he is 100% somebody you should pay attention to. I believe he's a safety target. Is that correct, or is he a wide receiver?
I think he's
he can play both. Honestly.
I would keep my eyes peeled there. I think he's somebody that they saw over the spring that has really caught their attention, to the best of my understanding. Now, is he a number one just yet? I don't think so. Is he trending that way where he might be a number one by the time we get into summer? I think there's a possibility that he could be. I think this staff is excited by the potential of him because he's really a two-way athlete. And so when you get him focused in one room and you start to kind of develop him there, what could he really be? So I think there's some – I think he's definitely somebody to keep your eye on. He'd be, if I'm putting a hot board together, he would 100% be on my DB hot board.
Right, because he's an all-around athlete. Because I mean, I think he was like an all-state punter too as well. Like, you know, dude, the kid he's a hell of an athlete, and I mean, he's literally 30 minutes down the road. So it'll definitely open up a pipeline. Because I'm telling you, the next few years. Down in Alex City, they have some real talent, and so that'll definitely open up that pipeline.
Well, they had some back in the day too. You remember Mike Goggins and El Toro, and they had some really good Auburn connections. Malcolm, hey, Big Pat, I'm gonna put Malcolm Simmons on my call list this week. I'm gonna try to call him, see what's the latest with him.
Okay. All right, appreciate it, fellas. I have a good one.
Thanks, Big Pat. We appreciate you, Big Dog. We're going to be looking for you a little tailgate action this year. We'll be looking for you. We called up Zach?
Oh, no. We still got 3 more.
Okay.
8861. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Kevin from Wimmer, Alabama.
What's up, Kevin? How you doing tonight, Big Dog? What's on your mind?
The 5 transfers we got.
Are you talking about this week, Kevin?
Yeah, this week.
All right.
Yep.
Who were they?
Larry Nixon.
Oh, Larry Nixon. There you go.
Yep. Larry Nixon.
Dumas.
Jair Shorter.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, Shane Hooks and Steven Sings. Those are your 5 transfer commitments this week.
I forgot about Shorter.
It be real good.
I think he has an opportunity to be, Kevin. I really do. How quickly can he get up to speed with a new offense and adjust to the jump in competition that he's going to see? I don't know, but I do like his skill set, specifically in the middle of the field or as an intermediate wide receiver. Somebody who could go across the middle and make some really tough catches for you. And he's not lacking for ability to get down the field either. I just don't think that's where he's going to be featured in Auburn's offense. I think he'll be more of an intermediate in-breaking wide receiver.
Was Cam Coleman visiting Auburn Thursday?
He did. He visited with 3 of his teammates. Red Morgan.
Yes.
2025 wide receiver Dalen Upshaw. 2025 offensive lineman Mal Waldrop. The Phoenix City Four is what they're calling them. You know who their assistant coach is?
No.
Coach C.
Who?
Coach C. Coach C.
Oh.
Yeah, he's called into the show.
Yes, he sure has.
I met him the other night at the facility.
Did you really?
Yes. We talked. He's gonna take me to Ohio hunting. He doesn't know it. He doesn't know it yet, but
he's taking you some big buck hunting.
Yeah,
here up there.
But yeah, Coach C. He is an administrator, but he helps out with that Phoenix City football team, and all 4 of those guys were up in Auburn visiting, and it was just like a 3-hour visit. Like, what are we going to do this afternoon? I don't know. Let's ride up to Auburn and hang out. They rode up here, had their photo shoot, talked to Marcus Davis, talked to Jake Thornton, and ate supper, hung out for just a little bit, and then we're like, all right, let's go home. It was the kind of visits you like to see. And Cam Coleman and Red Morgan are going to take an official visit to Auburn. Now, this is what they say in the middle of June. It's going to be during the week. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn says, why don't you just come up here on an unofficial visit those 2 days and then come back in December. I don't think Auburn's going to let Cam Coleman burn his OV. And Cam said, I think I'm going to make my decision in about middle of the season. I said, I don't think I think you might know where you're going to go then, but you're not going to, because the media is not going to let you. You're going to have 24/7. You're going to have On3. You're going to have rivals all vying for you to make your public. ESPN on National Signing Day, they're going to want you to announce it. And he was like, okay. So, yeah, I'm going to announce it on signing day.
Listen, definitely letting the crowd know how the sausage is made right now, because these are the kind of conversations that when we first started doing this show together and I started finding out like kind of how this industry works a little bit, it raises your eyebrows some, and you start to kind of put the pieces together on why commitments happen, when they happen, and why they happen.
And I will say this, Kevin, I've never felt more confident about Keith Niebuhr's pick with Cam Coleman to Auburn than I do right now. I absolutely 100% support Keith Niebuhr and his prediction of Cam Coleman, which I think came back in March.
And I will tell you this too. Cam Coleman is he's the show at Phoenix City. And I don't know where Red Morgan sits on the board for Auburn, but I absolutely love that kid's game. He is a flat-out ball hawk. Somebody you could put at that field safety position and feel very comfortable about for the next 3 years. So I think that if they decide that that's who they want in this class, I think he could be very attainable for them. And I think his top three right now are Auburn, Miami, and
Florida State.
Maybe Florida State. I'll have to take a look back and see what the recruitment story said. But I know it was Auburn and Miami for sure. And then there was one other. Maybe it was Kentucky. But really like that young man's game. Look, you don't take a Red Morgan to get a Cam Coleman, but you take Red Morgan on his own credit, and I think he's the kind of kid that could really play here in the SEC.
Oh, he's going to Michigan State. He's going to Cincinnati. He's going to Miami. Those are all official visits in June. He also mentioned Florida State, Ole Miss, Alabama, and Auburn, of course.
Okay.
But, yeah, so they've got a 7-on-7 in the middle of the month in June. So that's why they're not going to be able to make it that June 16th weekend. But I would expect Cam Coleman and Red Morgan to visit Auburn in the middle of June and then return at the end of July for Big Cat.
There you go.
But, yeah, good stuff, Kevin. Appreciate you calling in, big dog.
Last caller of the night here, 3122. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Listening to the show.
Hey, this is Gracie from Birmingham, Alabama. I just wanted to ask some questions. I feel like we don't need a slot receiver in a 2024 class with us losing JJ, and I saw that Rogers released his top teams, and can you imagine if we get Riley and Burnett in 2024, and then we get Henderson and Rogers in 2025. I feel like that's on the elite running back group, and I think Silas, the defensive back that just committed, which is a corner, I feel like he's just a little too small, in my opinion, to play corner, and I feel like he's more of a safety in the SEC. What do you think about that? And we have a shot to land KJ Bolden, or I feel like he's kind of slipping out of the hands for us right now?
I agree. We talked a little bit about him. Jhead thinks it's all Georgia, Ohio State. I think it's Georgia until it's not. Yeah, he's going to visit Auburn. Yeah, he's going to say some great things about Auburn. He's got a great relationship with Zach Etheridge. I'm sure Wesley McGriff is in there at some point as well. But bottom line is, I'll believe it when I see it on KJ Bolden.
There you go. I'm going to have to, Making fun of myself here. I'm going to need some proof of concept on this one. Okay, now look. Zach he's done more than I thought at this point. Look, pulling Kay and Lee from Ohio State on National Signing Day, that's big time recruiter type stuff. Okay. But walking into the state of Georgia and pulling KJ Bolden from Georgia, who's the #1 player in Georgia, that's next level transcendent recruiter type stuff. So for him to be able to pull that off, I think there's going to have to be a lot of things that are going to break the right way for Auburn, and I just don't see that happening as of today. Now, get back to me at the end of the year, and maybe we'll have this conversation, and I'll tell you something completely different. But as of right now, the way I see this, I just don't see any other team besides Georgia and Ohio State landing him as of now. And with regard to the 4 running backs that you mentioned, because you talked about some headliners there with Kevin Riley, Fat Burnett, and then obviously Anthony Turbo Rogers, and then Alvin Henderson. I don't think you're going to get both of those kids in that 2025 class. I think you're going to get one or the other. I don't think there's any way you're going to be getting both. With Fat Burnett, obviously he's committed right now, and Kevin Riley, that's a TBD situation because what we just don't know is where he sits with Alabama. Because if Alabama wants a young man that's in Tuscaloosa County, and look, I'm not saying that Carnell Williams is not a fantastic recruiter. I think he is. I just think that's a hell of a move to have to pull off to land a kid that Alabama truly wants us in their backyard. I'm optimistic that if Alabama were not to have him high on their board or is the guy that they want to take, that Auburn could absolutely get into the mix and land him, or they're in the mix, they could absolutely land him. I'm waiting to see kind of more tea leaves as far as what Alabama's pursuit is of him, and then we can kind of go from there.
I tell you what, you get one of those 2 guys in 2025, Anthony Rogers, Alvin Henderson. Now I've got my pick on Alvin. I think he is I'm very high on Alvin Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going off of what I saw him as a sophomore. I haven't even, we haven't even seen him as a junior. So who knows? But that's 1A for me in 2025. And I think he's that way for Auburn. I don't know if Auburn would take Anthony Rogers right now unless they thought it wouldn't affect them with Alvin Henderson. Because I think Alvin Henderson is the guy Cadillac's been working on for 2 years.
Yeah.
Already. And so they're not going to jeopardize Alvin Henderson. And don't get me wrong, Anthony Rogers.
Good back.
Great back. He's not Alvin Henderson. Maybe he is. I don't know. Am I wrong, Jhead?
I haven't seen enough tape to know. What I have seen, I like.
Okay.
I would put them in the same category. I really would.
Okay. Same tier.
They're in the same tier.
Okay.
Now, in that tier, do you have Alvin Henderson higher? Probably. I've done more film study on him. I know a little bit more about him. Yeah.
Is he, how high is Alvin Henderson for you?
Jeffrey, he's going to be a 5-star.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's what I thought.
He's going to be a 5-star, probably the #2 player in the state behind Ron Williams.
Okay. Where do you have Anthony Rogers if he's at Pike Road next year? Is he #3? Is he that close to Alvin Henderson, or is he like number 8?
He's top 10 for sure, but I don't know who else is in that class, Jeffrey. That's
okay.
The thing.
Fair enough.
I have not done enough work on the 2025 class to truly tell you, but I would say he is a top 10 type talent in the state of Alabama in that class. And in my opinion of the 2025 class is it is loaded in a very similar way that the 2022 class was loaded with offense and defensive linemen and edge players. This class, the 2025 class, is loaded with skill talent. Loaded to the gills.
Oh, yeah.
With skill talent. And he would be top 10 in that class.
Okay.
So I've got a very high grade on him. I need to watch him a little bit more because what separates Alvin to me, yes, he's got all the running back, all the attributes that you want as a running back, but the great ones all have fantastic vision, and Alvin has fantastic vision. That is the separator from him, and that's what makes him look like Carnell when you watch him on tape, and you can see him anticipate two moves ahead of what a linebacker is going to do in the hole. 2 moves ahead on that cutback when that defensive end is crashing in. And it just, he makes that jump cut at the right time, and he's elite with his vision and the ability to hit the home run after he makes that move. So I need to watch more turbo tape, but it's going to be hard for me to put him over Alvin. I'm not saying he can't be just because I don't know enough about his game, but Alvin Henderson is going to be a 5-star. Just, you can write that down.
Okay. Just wanted to throw this out here because the chat's exploding and mentioned it. Jeremiah Beeman to Bama. Any surprises there?
No.
Did he commit?
Yeah, just a minute ago.
No.
We had that.
Hey.
Yeah. I thought everyone kind of knew that, but the chat kept posting in there, so I wanted to let you guys know he did announce his commitment.
Cole has been very adamant. Cole went and saw Jeremiah Beeman, I think, twice in the past 6 weeks, and Cole walked away, and he told our listeners on, I'm sure, the recruiting show, and I'm sure on this show, anybody that would listen to Cole Pinkston would say it's going to be tough to beat Alabama here. Yes. So good for him. That's hey, you know what? Good for Jeremiah for getting it done. So I'm being selfish here, so I don't have to continue to do updates on this guy as if Auburn's got a chance, or leading everybody along. If you flip a kid from Birmingham, Parker's on the west side of Birmingham, by the way, so it's like 35 minutes from Tuscaloosa.
Yes.
You flip a kid from Parker from Alabama, a defensive lineman, that's a big deal, and it's very tough to do.
That's a massive deal. And so let's give the chat and let's give some of our listeners some names to watch at defensive tackle, because we had moved on a month ago, I think, in realizing that Jeremiah Beeman to Alabama was what was going to happen, whether it was next week or whether it was, signing day. That was the way this was going. So I think everybody would be encouraged with the fact that Camarion Franklin is going to be officially visiting to Auburn, and he is absolutely a target to watch. I think Tennessee is probably the chief competition there, and Rodney Garner. No secret, Rodney and his dark arts are in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Green is a name to absolutely pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
L.J. McCray from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We're going on down the list.
Is it Malik Blockton? Is
Malik
one of the
Blockton,
guys?
Defensive end from Pike Road. Terrence Hibbler, defensive tackle from Holmes County Central in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go T.J. Lindsey from Arkansas. Pay attention to that one. I believe he's officially visiting the first week in June. Sean Silvano Jr. Watch this name, guys. He is a new name on the board. He's originally from Canada, has been at Clearwater Academy in Clearwater, Florida. He put up some absolute insane stats last year. I think something around 22 sacks or something of that nature. It was just unreal, but he's going to be visiting Auburn here very soon. Definitely a name to track. And then there's one other name from South Carolina by the name of Marcus Downs, defensive tackle. Pay attention to that one as well. But those are the names as of today that I would concentrate on. I think there's another one, a Burrow kid from Atlanta that I'm also watching, a big nose tackle. But those are who I would concentrate on. I'm sure Jeffrey's going to be reporting more. They just got done with eval season, so my guess is names will start to percolate a little bit more on who they liked and who they're going to be narrowing down on here relatively soon.
Yeah, especially after camps. We got camps coming up next month. Yep. A lot of offers will be going out after camp. I think the July dead period is really when everybody sits down, catches their breath, looks over the board. You've seen everybody from the eval period. The coaches have been on the road to see these kids in person. Now you've had these kids come to camp. You've seen them in person in camps. And now you've seen video. You've seen evaluation visit. You've seen them in camp, presumably as many as possible. And then July, you have a really good idea what your board looks like.
Yep.
And you're able to use that dead period in July, except for that final week of July where Big Cat comes in. All of August is dead. All of July is dead except for that week, the last week of July. That's when you really kind of get to catch your breath, get a good grasp on your board heading into their senior seasons.
Yep.
So that's be a great time for us to really hone in on our board of what we think it looks like. We'll be doing that as well. Zach, do we have any questions?
20.
Let's hit them. We'll hit them fast. Oh, Dylan wants to know. Update on the second running back for this class. I'm assuming Kevin Riley and Anthony Rogers are still the priority. Anthony Rogers is 2025. Kevin Riley is the top target. I would have guessed, wouldn't you, Jhead?
Yes, that I believe he is the top target. I think they're shuffling through who, 1B, 1C would be to him right now. But Kevin Riley is absolutely 1A to the back that you already have in the class in Jamarian Fat Burnett.
Cleveland wants to know, per Pink, Hooks tends to be extra after the whistle. He's talking about Shane Hooks from JSU. Loose cannon, as he put it. How concerned should we be?
Zach, you jump in.
I don't think super concerned. Listen, I mean, he's aggressive and he will make some mistakes, but at the end of the day, like, I don't think he does anything completely out there. Like, I think loose cannon puts a thoughts in people's mind. Like, he's not a guy who's going to be in extracurricular fights or anything. Like, he's flamboyant as wide receivers are, but I think it kind of goes to, he always tries to do too much. Like, he's always looking for the highlight play, which leads to some of the fumbles and some other stuff we've seen. As long as he stays focused and things like that, I won't worry about it too much. And I'm sure Freeze and that offensive staff is not going to let him get away with a whole lot.
Fantastic. Great stuff right there. Bobby Lang, y'all think Broom returns? I do.
So Justin just had an update. And
he did?
Yeah, says that Janai has some two-way contracts in his back pocket, and he's got some.
Is this one while we're on the show?
Yep, I just read through it, and I don't think that Justin has said it one way or another which way he's leaning. He's got some decisions that he's got to make, and does he want to run the risk of being on a two-way contract and bouncing back and forth like Harper has between the NBA and going back and forth to the G League? And ready to press forward, or does he want to try to develop a little bit more in college and be, potentially be a back-end first-round pick, surefire second-round pick that's going to stay in the NBA and not be on a two-way deal? So
we got about 10 days left, right?
Got about 10 days left. I think May 28th is the day that he has to make a decision, May 28th, May 29th. One of those 2 days he's got to make a decision by. So we should know here relatively soon what he's going to do. I still feel a little bit of confidence that he's going to be returning, but I'm not going to pretend here that Justin's update doesn't make me a little more nervous knowing that he has secured a two-way contract.
Very interesting. That'll be something we'll be talking about a lot more next week. Would it be May 28th next week?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good stuff. Corey wants to know, OC Will wants to know, just because I don't know, does a guy like Broom make six figures from NIL? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. JM, is Auburn still recruiting Riddick from Clinton? Absolutely. DeMarcus Riddick. But as we have said with Jeremiah Beeman to Alabama, I think Alabama is probably the team to beat, in my opinion, just from what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Even though he's committed to Georgia, I think Alabama is probably the team to beat for him. Stewart wants to know, with the 2023 class locked up, boop, boop, do we see any 2024 commitments coming soon? I think June. I would think in June we'll see some commitments coming.
Yeah.
I think
heavy commitment months. I think visit month is June. Okay.
Yeah.
Or when I spoke to somebody that's in the player personnel world, they refer to it as hell month.
Mm-hmm.
It will soon be upon them.
You got official visits, you got camps, all kind of camps and official visits, all in June.
I think that, you know what, every recruiting staff at a Power 5 school that recruits at a top tier level, they are absolutely worn out by the time they get to July 4th weekend. And hats off to them for what they're about to go through. But yeah, absolutely. June, July, and August are big decision months. So I would expect commitments to start to happen here relatively soon.
Moving to Norfolk, Virginia, wants to know, do we think Peyton Thorne going to push the ball down the field, or we think we're going to be a bit more underneath passes? I think he's going to take his shots, man.
At the end of the day, this offense at its core is a vertical shot, post-snap adjustment by the wide receiver, RPO overlay offense. That's what it is. They absolutely are going to take shots down the field. How many? That's going to be dependent upon the wide receiver play, how quickly Peyton Thorne can get on the same page with them, and then how does Philip Montgomery and Hugh Freeze scheme them open? They've done a fantastic job at their prior stops as far as getting a first grade open, specifically vertical shots down the field. We'll see what they do here at Auburn in these first couple of weeks, but I have some optimism that they are 100% going to try to push the ball down the field.
I would expect so to myself. I don't think we're going to – it's not a I think it'll be a big play. I think he will want – if you've heard him in practices on the video, look, touchdown, 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 check off. Yeah, that was his first thoughts. Steven wants to know, if you all had to pick Javonte Waller, who would it be? Javonte – I don't either. I think it's too early. Let me look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think he's going to OV to Auburn. I'll give you that. Yeah, I think he's going to OV to Auburn, but who is he favoring right now? I don't think he knows. So for us to say.
I think the on 3 RPM has like Ole Miss up there.
77.
I know Tennessee's coming after him pretty hard, and you probably got, I'm assuming Mississippi State's going after him being an in-state kid. I don't know how much interest he has there.
No, that's Kamarion's teammate. Is it not?
I don't know. Are they teammates?
I don't know. I don't think they're teammates.
They didn't go to the same school?
Let's find out. Crack research staff working on it right now.
Yeah, right.
That's in the top 7. Oh, shoot. Like, I can't just look up Kamarion Franklin and find out where he goes to school.
One would only think it's that easy, right?
Yeah, there he is. No, he's at Lake Cormorant.
Okay.
And Javonte Waller is at – but he does have a teammate. I think he might be a 2025 guy. Kamarion Franklin does.
But Waller is he's absolutely an interesting player. I think Florida is in his top group.
Penn State, right, too?
Penn State. I think it was Penn State, and Penn State 1, Florida 2 were the top 2 schools he mentioned, and then he also mentioned Auburn and Alabama. Ole Miss wasn't even a school in his most recent update that he did with Chad Simmons that was featured, and they're the leader in the RPM, and that's obviously the home state school. But I don't believe at this point he's planning on taking an official visit to Ole Miss. Now, it's always hard to get a Mississippi kid out of Mississippi, but I think he's a kid that's looking to go elsewhere. Like I said, you called it, Zach, but Penn State, Florida, Auburn, Alabama, and I think Florida State maybe were the top 5 schools that were mentioned, but I need to take a look at that real quick.
Bobby wants to know how many of the transfers do y'all think start? Of the 20, is there more than 20 now, Jhead?
It's 20 or 20.
All right, let's do this exercise. Let's pull up the transfer list. Let's go down it and let's say starter, depth piece, starter, depth piece. Okay?
Got you.
All right.
All right, I'm pulling it up, so you guys are good. As a producer,
okay.
I feel like I got to get this for you guys.
There we go, Zach. I like it.
Can you share it on the screen, Zach?
No, I don't have a second screen. So if I share it, they'll see like the background of the StreamYard.
Okay.
On there. Okay, so we'll go Shane Hooks.
Okay.
No.
Yep. I think Camden Brown starts over him.
Larry Nixon.
Yes.
Jair Shorter.
Yes.
Jaden Muskrat.
No.
Caleb Burton.
No.
Peyton Thorne.
I don't think it's fair for those wide receivers, though. There's going to be so many people playing, right? I mean, they might run out 4 guys. They might run out 5 guys. They might run out 3. So, but do you think let's go start wide receivers. Do you think all of those guys are going to be in the 2 deep and they're going to play a lot? They're going to be factors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're all 2. And I'll tell you what, I'll adjust that to say, as opposed to just yes, no, I'll say 2 deep or I'll say depth piece. Okay. If they're not, if I don't think they're going to be in the top 10.
Starter, 2 deep, or depth piece.
There we go.
All right. Jalen McLeod.
2 deep.
Austin Keys. Oh, good.
McLeod starting 2 deep behind McAllister.
Yes. I think McAllister will be Elijah McAllister will be the opening day starter. Now, check back with me by week 5 because Jalen McLeod may be in the starting lineup. But I like the fact that Elijah McAllister was here in spring. I think as far as a run setter, or an edge setter against the run, I think he's a 2-down type guy with Jalen McLeod being your 3rd down specialist.
Austin Keys.
Starter.
Justin Rogers.
Starter.
Avery Jones.
Starter.
Brian Battie.
Depth
starting kick returner.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Starting kick returner, but depth piece at running back right now.
Nick Martiner.
Depth piece.
Lawrence Johnson.
Depth piece.
Demario Tolan.
Depth piece.
Mosiah Nasili Kite.
2 deep. Potential starter.
Gunnar Britton.
Starter.
Dylan Wade.
Starter.
Yeah. Elijah McAllister.
Starter. Or 2 deep.
Rivaldo Fairweather.
Starter.
And then the most recent one, the kid from New Mexico State tonight.
2 deep.
Yeah.
I was not counting, but I think that's more than half we expect to start.
Yeah.
And then Steven Sings, did we have him?
Yeah, that was the last one.
Okay. I thought.
Wait, oh no, Sings. Yeah, Sings from Liberty. I think I don't think any of us think he's starting.
Depth piece. Yeah.
If you've got Elijah and Jalen as your 2 deep, you've got Sings as a depth piece.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Damn. So of the 20, whatever it is, we think.
How many starters did we have there, Zach? Did we
count more than half?
Yeah,
I think it was close to 12. You had Fairweather, Nixon, Keys, Battie. I'm counting Battie, Gunnar Britton, Elijah, Dylan Wade. Did you say Avery Jones?
Yes.
Avery Jones. That's 8, and I was, we're going too fast for me.
He said Larry Nixon was going to start.
Yes.
Yes.
And Peyton Thorne.
Of course.
Did you say Austin Keys was going to start tomorrow or start this year too?
I think he's your
okay.
starting.
So that would be 11 or 12 right there.
I'm trying to find out from Walker if Walker, if you're listening, dude, which you have a tendency to do, you little sneaky rat.
Yeah, go ahead and jump in there.
Yeah, let us know because I don't know, Eric May. I really don't. I'll be honest with you, the last thing I'm worried about is the 2024 quarterback, what he's doing now. Only because I've been. I mean, think about it. We had 3 commitments. You have 4 commitments, counting the basketball, in the past 3 days, and of course, Cole chose to take a vacate, and that's how it happens, right?
It is.
So Cole takes off on Thursday afternoon, where you've got 4 guys that comes in from Phoenix City to visit, and you got a Ukwu commits Friday night. Nick, oh my God, you wouldn't believe the things I went to, the links I went to for David Baker Mazzara.
Oh,
I was up till 11 o'clock one night chasing him around for the visit story. And then 24 hours later, it was 11 o'clock. He commits at like 10:30. He was like, "Hey, man, get your story ready." It's like, okay, cool, man. I was like, "It's 10:30, dude. I'll just write it in the morning. It's going to happen tomorrow." And I was sitting there playing the game. He's like, "Yeah, I just committed to Auburn." I was like, "What the fudge, dude? Come on, man.
Like, can't you do this during normal business hours with generating clicks and whatnot?"
I've been at it all day, and I finally laid down. I was like, "Man, I'm just going to have to do that tomorrow. I'm tired of working."
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
But in the words of Josh Pate, we've been portaling here lately, and so you've been portaling. So unfortunately, the whereabouts of Walker White, are not at the forefront right now. He's still firmly committed. Everybody, he's still firmly recruiting for Auburn, but whether or not he competed in the Elite 11, we just don't know.
I have not. You would think you'd see some reports from that, but either way, if I hear anything, Eric, I will let you know while he's on the show. If we're still on the show, John Addison, with the addition of Stephen Hooks, what is y'all's outlook on the wide receiving core going into the next year? You've got Caleb Burton. You've got Stephen Hooks. You've got
Shane Hooks. Stephen Hooks might be a bigger contributor in other places.
Oh, is that the tool guy?
The basketball enthusiast.
Oh, okay. No. Who am I thinking of?
Shane Hooks.
Shane Hooks.
Shane Hooks. Caleb Burton.
Jair Shorter.
I keep forgetting about him. And Nick Marner.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So really, in 4. What's your outlook on the wide receiving core?
I think that we have 100% elevated the room. The floor of that room has come up.
And you like Shorter the best.
I do. I think Shorter has the most potential for the immediate impact. Now, long-term impact, I think obviously you defer to Caleb Burton, because when you're a top 150 guy, I mean, that means that you're capable of being drafted. You have that kind of skill set. I don't know how big of an impact Jair Shorter is going to have. Is he going to have more than 700 yards receiving next year and, the same amount of touchdowns that he had at North Texas? I have no idea. But he gives you an absolute body type in that room that you did not have other than Camden Brown. He's a guy that's physical. He's a guy that can make vertical plays down the field. He was a need for this room. My expectation is that he's going to be a starter. How good will he be? I honestly don't know. But I think he's better than the options that you had in that room that were returning. So there in and of itself, it's an upgrade. And I like the other pieces that you added from a depth standpoint because they all bring something a little bit different to the wide receiver room. Shane Hooks is going to be a physical guy that you can use over the middle of the field. He also has the capability of making plays in the red zone. We didn't have a target like him this time last year. And I saw somebody try to compare him to Landon King. Shane Hooks. Now you got me saying it. Shane Hooks is Landon did not have the explosion off the line of scrimmage. He didn't have the twitch off the line of scrimmage that Shane Hooks has. What Shane will be able to do is run routes at a much more precise there'll be more precision in what he does from a route running standpoint. He's going to understand passing concepts a little bit better. Things have been nuanced and laid out for him, and he's been doing this for a long time. Landon King was trying to make a transition, and you could tell he was very unsure of himself at times, specifically out in space at wide receiver. This gives you a big body to utilize over the middle of the field and in the red zone that you just didn't have. And when we're in those 4-down wide receiver packages, and now you've got him in the slot or you've got him on the outside, you've got a major mismatch with a smaller corner. You all right, Jay Lee?
Yeah. Well, one of these eyes is red, right?
A little bit.
It's this one.
It's a little bit.
I think you've been spending too much time at the supper club.
Hey, little pink eye. Hey, that was for Connor McCray as well. Connor wanted to know about that wide receiver and who they think would be the best. So, C-Web wants to know, does the addition of Sings allow you to move Falk to strong side?
I think he allows you to get more snaps at strong side for sure. Does he move full-time? I don't know, because this staff is not going to hesitate to put their best players on the field in whatever which way that looks. And if Keldrick Falk can give you competitive snaps at jack outside linebacker, and he's better than, other people at that position, they'll play him there. But yes, I do think that it gives you the versatility to give him more snaps at the defensive end position. We're both, I think, all three of us, Jay Lee, Cole, and even Zach, I think, would agree that's a natural fit for him to slide more to that 5-tech 4-eye position, because it's just where his body's going to take him, right? It's going to be really hard for him to stay at 275, which is where he's at right now, and to maintain that same athleticism and the ability to play in space that he's going to need to be a jack linebacker.
Yeah, because he's 18 years old, 275, so he's only going to put on more weight, muscle, more muscle, not just unnecessary weight. He's a big kid, so I just don't see him fitting at a jack linebacker all the way through his career. That would, if he does that, his athleticism would have to be, like you said, off the chart for someone that size.
And you're talking about a big kid from Highland Home, Alabama. Okay. This is a small school. And I can say that because I went to Elba High School, which is a small school. You don't have the same strength and conditioning type program. You're not going to be overly produced or be at your top end. This is a kid that's got some rawness to his game that's going to continue to be developed, both in his technique and with his body. So I would fully expect when he gets a full year in a conditioning program and on a nutrition plan, he's going to be playing north of 285 in a good year for sure.
D's back. He wants to know, is there any concern with Fat Burnett's commitment? He's hearing that Cadillac might pull the scholarship. Not heard that.
I haven't either.
That's message board rumors and Twitter rumors. I've heard the rumors. Don't read too much into it, Big D.
He was recruiting for Auburn on Twitter earlier today, if I'm not mistaken.
He's gonna do that. Malik Autry was gonna decommit. I don't know where these things go. Maybe it's all true. I don't know. Has anyone heard anything on Jalen Crawford? Jalen Crawford, somebody I probably need to check in with too. I think he's making an official visit to Auburn in June.
Yes.
He's got 3 or 4 official visits set. Dude, Auburn is squarely in the mix for him. And you got to think, Jhead, you brought his teammate up. Oh, Antonio, right?
Yep, Antonio White.
White.
Jalen Crawford has the top 3 of Auburn, LSU, and North Carolina. Clemson was not in the top 3 that I saw listed, which was surprising to me. And if we're not faced up against Clemson on this one, I really like our odds, Jalen.
Me too. I can't remember if I put in a prediction on him, but I think I like Auburn right now. I don't think I have. Alan, sorry if we talked about it already, but if Thorne wins the job, do you think this is a fair question, Jhead? Do you think they're going to put in, if Peyton Thorne wins the job, which I think we all expect him to, do you think there will be some packages for Robbie Ashford?
Yes.
Zach's emphatically saying yes.
Yes.
I
do too. With 2 great offensive minds, if you think that a guy with the athleticism of Robbie Ashford is going to be sitting on the sidelines holding a clipboard all season, there's no way. You can't convince me that those 2 guys don't already have a package thought up where they're going to put Robbie Ashford in space with the ball and say, you're just better than everyone else.
Be better than everyone else.
Yeah,
I agree, Zach. I mean, he's too dynamic of an athlete, and we saw that last year. Look, you don't just rush for 700-plus yards in the SEC from the quarterback position.
Did he rush for 700 yards?
Yes.
Are you serious?
700-plus.
Wow.
Yeah, look, he is a phenomenal athlete. And I think there's some – look, just because I think Peyton Thorne is going to be the day 1 starter at quarterback, that doesn't mean that Robbie can't stay at Auburn and develop and become a hell of a quarterback himself. And I really think that's what he needs. I think he needs to sit behind someone and really learn how to play the position and continue to fine-tune his game. And if he will stay patient and everything comes together for them, Robbie Ashford can be a starting quarterback in the SEC, and he could be a starting quarterback at the SEC after Peyton Thorne leaves. I firmly believe that.
I agree too. I think he's a year away from really competing to be an SEC type quarterback, and that's improving his accuracy on these intermediate throws, doing everything a quarterback needs to do. Still think he's a year away.
Yeah.
I really do, and that's why I think Peyton Thorne is a blessing in disguise for Auburn here. They needed a guy like him, ready to play.
Because the issue with a lot of Wildcat formations or packages that you see nowadays is all DCs are too smart and too good nowadays just to fall to the fact that if this guy comes in, we're running it. We're running it. We can't pass it. If you get the benefit of having Robbie Ashford, who he might not be able to complete 70% of his passes, but if it's the coverage is wide open on the back end, he can make a throw.
Yes.
So it makes the defense be more honest, which really makes it a better Wildcat package to have a quote unquote quarterback in there rather than just an athlete who really and truly doesn't offer any threat down the field.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, Alan Brooks. Oh, throw, AD. Who's the starting wide receiver now? Camden Jair?
Yeah, I'll go Camden and Jair on the outside, and then JJ in the slot. I think he's been too productive to this point in his career and shown too much against SEC-level competition for me to bet against him. And then obviously you've got some guys in Coy Moore, Shane Hooks, Nick Mardner, Omari Kelly, Jay Fair. They're all going to be fighting for spots.
Fairweather too. Like I kind of include him in wide receivers as well. Like I really do think that's kind of the guy who I think is too good. Again, like I said, with Ashford, not to have him on the field in certain situations. Like I could see use it like how Florida used Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
His last season, that's how you can use Rivaldo Fairweather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he'll be on the field more than he's not.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it. Caught up.
Awesome. What a great show, man. Fantastic. Jhead, you got to talk a lot more than you usually did. You enjoyed that, did you?
Yeah, we all know I love the sound of my
voice. Yeah, I thought you might like that.
Yeah, I got the memes at this episode.
Fantastic, man. Hey, one more time, if you're looking for a house in or around Auburn, looking to sell or looking to buy, dude, I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group, 5-star realtor. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. And tell her we sent you, man. Tell her we sent you. It's a big deal. We appreciate it. Hey, we will be back. What's today? Sunday?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back Thursday afternoon. I have a lot more to talk about. The football portal is wrapping up. Still got a little basketball to go. We'll follow the Jhead Broom deal. We'll be doing it all at Auburn Live on 3. If you haven't already, get signed up with Auburn Live on 3. Fantastic deal right now. We're going to leave this deal going on $29.99 for 6 months, $5 a month for the next 6 months. Fantastic deal, and you will not be disappointed. Come join us, man. We got a great community over at the corner. Fantastic. A lot of traffic, a lot of great Auburn fans, a lot of great dialogue going on over there. Come join us, man. You will not be disappointed. Look for us Thursday, folks. We're going to be back. And then, of course, we'll be back next Sunday with the call-in show. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Jhead, for Zach in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay in that left lane. See ya.